busting through, making the tackle. Shaq Thompson for a 3-yard loss.
Shaq busting through. My goodness. And what we see is Norv Turner offense coming to fruition because Cam is actually a pocket quarterback. Who knew? Oh my goodness.
Tackles McCaffrey, busting through at the 30, 35, 40. Quick race down the right side. Here he goes at the 50, 40, to the Miami 30, 20, at the 10. A swipe with the ankles. They can't get him. Touchdown, Christian McCaffrey.
They can't get him. They can't get him. You're right.
You can't catch him, but you can catch the C3 podcast live right now on YouTube, Facebook. It's the _1 Panthers podcast, bringing you all the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. My name's Tony Dunn. You can find me on Twitter at @cat_chronicles. I'm here with Joe Riolano in the house. What's up, my friend?
What up, homies? It is Tuesday night. It's Panther Talk time. I'm ready to do it, so let's get it on.
PTT. Right, there we go. Panther Talk time. Here we're going to Cody Lashney in the house, producing the show tonight. Appreciate your help. And how you been, my friend?
I've been doing fine. I'm laughing at the Cincinnati Bengals like the UN laughed at Donald Trump the other day. So it's all good, baby. We're happy. We're laughing. We're having a good time. Chilling with the best Panther fans on the internet. I'm ready to roll, baby. Let's do it.
Fantastic. We've got a fun show tonight. We're heading into the bye 2-1, an exciting 31-21 victory over the Bengals. We're tied for first in a 3-way tie with all the tiebreakers not going to us. And on top of that, which is kind of cool, is the one team that we lost to is the team that is behind us in the division, the Atlanta Falcons. So we've got all that. We're going to be talking about some of the acquisitions made today for the Carolina Panthers and how we shake out in the division. But before we do that, I'd like to encourage everybody to turn your phone portrait mode and smash the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't. There's the Shindig app. You can get into the show. Just open the Shindig app. We're on the homepage, or you can find the link in the show notes. And look, I really want to encourage everyone to consider supporting us. You can get your very own a limited edition. I got a couple, only got about 15 extra I Stand With Cam t-shirts. The link is in the show notes. It's a cool shirt. You can find all that, and you can even donate to the Patreon account. Look, there's a little button down there in the bottom left corner. We appreciate your support. Guys, it's time to talk a little Carolina Panthers football. And oddly, the weird thing we're going to start the show off is the Panthers made a trade today for Marshall Newhouse, and what I find to be a bizarre story of events. Cody, any thoughts on we trade a conditional pick for Newhouse? Any thoughts on what we're getting here and what reports are saying this move is meant to do?
Yeah, not much. I mean, really, it's looking right now like it's only depth. We have no plans at right tackle if Taylor Moton were to go down or if Clark were to go down at left tackle. So this was a move for depth to try and assure that, we're going to continue to be able to protect Cam and run the football effectively. Now, if you look at his tape, look at his film, it's not exactly the best that you want to see. He's mainly known for getting blown up on Monday Night Football by the Dolphins and twirling through the air. He hasn't been great in pass protection, but like I said, the fact that it's a conditional pick, I think maybe 2 years from now, I'm not really too worried about it. I think it's something that they probably felt they had to do. So it is what it is.
Joey, this guy's kind of an older fella. I think he was drafted in 2010. So for a guy who's had trouble sticking in the league, well, I guess he hasn't had trouble sticking. He's still around the Bills, right? Is so that but it's been a carousel. It's been a carousel of guys, a carousel of no names, and a carousel of names that you would not remember The only reason we remember them is because it's just been such a terrible slate of injuries that have hit this offensive line. But boy, did they play pretty good against the Bengals. How are your feelings, man? I go heading into the bye with what we've got in the at offensive line, Joe.
Well, the way they played last game, you like them. It seems the unit is gelling and becoming a cohesive group of guys that have one focus. And I think a lot of that probably has to do with Ryan Khalil being the elder statesman and just being so familiar with the offense and, having the years of experience. He's able to give these guys and share with these guys what they need to continue to progress and improve. And we're seeing that. It seems game by game they're getting better. Now, we'll see how things go. If everybody can stay healthy, I like the way we're headed.
Newhouse is this story is bizarre to me, and we've got a tweet up right now showing this is a tweet from Marshall Newhouse, and it says this is from November 6, 2017. Mistakes were made. So I obviously and he's twirling through the air. It looks like, is this the play where he just got blown up by Kiko Alonso?
He was playing right tackle, and he actually was going up against two guys. They sped right past him. They hit Derek Carr, and Derek Carr fumbled the ball, so he went to recover it. He recovered the ball and started to run downfield, and my man's just got annihilated, son. And so, yeah, mistakes were made that night by one Marshall Newhouse.
Well, let me tell you how these mistakes panned out truly. So earlier when Jeremiah, if you remember back to week 1, and maybe actually it was the 4th preseason game, Jeremiah Searles pulls up lame with a hamstring injury. It is an injury that all of a sudden he goes from a guy who was slated to be starting at left tackle, not left tackle, at left guard potentially, or that, you had these guys going down. There would have been another opening at right guard as soon as Trey Turner went down. Searles goes down with this injury. So the Carolina Panthers immediately make a trade with the Detroit Lions to get what's his name? Corey Robinson, correct?
Yeah.
So Corey Robinson then comes to the Carolina Panthers and plays 3 special team snaps in the opener. And we haven't seen Robinson since, and there has been plenty of room and opportunity there. So then today we make the trade for Newhouse. We release Robinson, who we just traded for because Searles went down. And then here's the bizarre part of the story, guys, is that the Buffalo Bills traded away Newhouse so they could sign Jeremiah Searles. It is the rotating carousel of burning trash back there.
All in the family, they say.
Yeah, all in the family. Now, my question is, I don't understand, why. Well, first is that if we could get Searles back, right, I don't know, because we put him on IR and then injury settled with him, I don't think we can bring him back. I think that has to be the thing, is that, that didn't pan out with us, and because we made these moves for him because he didn't want to be a vet languishing on IR. But I bet you we cannot sign him back, which, though, it's this crazy circle of players. So interesting kind of news there. But really, guys, what I wanted to talk about today was something, while everybody else is kind of focused on the game a little bit, the Bengals win, I wanted to look around the league. I look up this morning and they're 2-1 for the lead in the NFC South. The Atlanta Falcons rounding out the bottom, the one team we've lost to. Tampa Bay goes down last night to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Saints were able to pull one out in Atlanta against the Falcons. The NFC South is a really tight division, right? Building into the slugfest that we have been accustomed to in the past. Joey, the division, can this division kill us, or is this a division that makes us stronger?
Are we the best team? Are we the worst team in this division is what you find yourself wondering, statistically speaking. I don't believe we are, but perhaps there is a case that can be made to make us appear as such. It's I guess it's not surprising that
I think Tampa Bay's fool's gold. I think Tampa Bay is fool's gold. Is that I think their offense is good, pretty good. What I would say is that OJ Howard, everybody's sleeping on that guy. He is a monster. And Mike Evans is a monster. But their offensive line was trash last night, and their defense just got torched. That cannot sustain in the long run.
Their offense went away. Like in the first half of the game, Fitz Magic turned into Fitz Tragic. Left and right he was throwing, one after the other. But then they got it together, and they really made it a ball game.
Yeah, and to their credit, I mean, that does need to be said. I mean, for as rough as it was earlier for Tampa, they came back, man, and they were in that game. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of halfway between Joey and Tony on this one. I don't necessarily think they're fool's gold. I kind of think they had to listen to that, Panthers, Falcons, and Saints, who's going to be winning the division, and no one's talking about them. So now they kind of have the chip on their shoulder. I think they've got an incredible roster, man. I mean, everything. I mean, I remember when they won the offseason in 2017, and everyone was saying they're a dark horse to win the NFC. Well, I think now you're kind of seeing what that was supposed to look like last year. They're throwing the ball down the field to Deshaun Jackson. Now they're getting O.J. Howard involved into their game plan way more. Mike Evans is just as good as he ever was.
He's better, man.
I mean,
he's getting better.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I agree.
He's awesome. That is
last night. Late.
Yeah,
he was falling down, and he caught it with pure hands as he was falling on his back. That was amazing.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, he's an incredible player, man. I remember hoping Kelvin Benjamin would be half the player that Mike Evans was, and we all know how that turned out. Yeah, just terrible. But the thing that I kind of noticed that separates us from the other teams is the division is that while all of their offenses are very potent, I feel like right now our defense is by far the best in our division.
Yes, we are the class of the division defensively.
Yeah, I really do think so. And even though we've had some bad showings as of late, I don't think that's indicative of who we are. I just know that this division is absolutely tough as there is. And, I mean, these teams are going to be able to move the ball on pretty much anyone.
Let me, since we're kind of talking about defense here, we're going into a bye week next week. And I want to ask you guys, has Shaq Thompson done enough to unseat Thomas Davis as the starter?
That's a good question.
That's a tough question, dude.
That's a real tough one.
I would say no. My initial answer is no.
Does Thomas come back for New York, or does he have to sit that one out too?
No, he's back, I think.
Yeah, he can play.
I mean,
because I think it was 3 games, right? It wasn't 4. I think it was a 3-game suspension.
I think it was 4 weeks, wasn't it? Not a 4-game. I think he's coming.
Yeah, so
I don't know. Okay, because I don't think he could have been at that event where they were passing out the lunches.
He was there.
Because that's a team function unless he is back.
Right, exactly.
If he can't go watch the game and be in the building when Luke Kuechly was jumping up, you know who will know is the people in the YouTube. Yes, he can come back. 10 Tizzy says.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Craig McCoy says 4 games. We are uncertain right now.
No, it is.
For the Skims. Today, back for the Skims, Lee Trotter says.
Yeah, it's a 4-game suspension, so he will not be back for New York. But we're gonna need Shaq for New York, man, because they're using Saquon Barkley a lot. So our linebackers, him and Luke, they're gonna have to fly around really, especially in that.
Well, I tell you what, this game coming up against the Giants will be a very good barometer for seeing where Shaq is and being able to make that determination. Is he starting over TD, or will TD come back as the starter? That's what we'll find out this week.
Let me turn the question. I'm going to let Curtis Ron, who's in on Facebook watching right now, he posed this question because I think we're kind of in this lane, and I don't think Shaq's the answer, but he asked this: most disappointing player through 3 weeks heading into the bye.
Colin Jones, baby.
Torrey Smith.
I think Torrey Smith's an easy answer. Colin Jones, maybe. Gosh, I would say Cersei getting hurt, man. That is, we could have really used him. And I don't think he was going to be great. I think he was just going to be pretty good. But that's not his fault. I would say fun back. So I think it does have to be Torrey Smith, right? What about DJ Moore?
Yeah, that was going to be my
I don't think that's his fault, though.
Yeah,
he's not getting it right.
It might not be.
Yeah, I don't think it's his fault one bit. I don't think it's one bit. But like, I mean, if you
the fact that the guy that we drafted in the first round as a wide receiver to help out Cam Newton, and Cam's been throwing dimes all over the field. The fact that we haven't been able to get him the ball. I mean, again, we can say it's the coaching. We can say it's DJ Moore being a work in progress. I don't know, but and maybe our expectations were too high for him. I mean, that's a real possibility. But I mean, I think with all the hype that we had around DJ Moore, I just kind of feel like he hasn't been quite what we wanted him to be yet.
Dude, the guy caught one pass and took it 51 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only gotten the ball from once. How can you be disappointed with that?
It's not him. How about this? Disappointed in the usage, maybe? The production?
Yeah.
I would say, let me just put this out, is that Mel, Mel is not here, but he's here in spirit. And Mel's, he would say one person's name, Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley at halftime against the Saints had 5 catches for 129 yards and 2 touchdowns.
But
at halftime,
he is a vital part of their offense, and DJ Moore has not become that for us yet. If he got the same number of
Ridley over Moore, I just saying this: if you're pointing out that Torrey Smith is potentially the most disappointing player on the team, and then we throw in the factor that DJ Moore has barely played, those two things, they go together like peanut butter and jelly, obviously, but not like shitty peanut butter and jelly.
They do, and look,
like crunchy.
Our man, Bat Daddy says, imagine on the opening play that long ball to Smith. if that had been more DJ Moore. And what I will say is that that was a tough throw to make, and I can actually pull it up if y'all want to see it. I have a clip.
Tough.
It hit him right in the hand. It hit him right in the hand.
It hit him right in the hands, and that was a tough catch to make. But in the end, that's what we brought him in to do, and honestly, that's what we brought DJ Moore in to do. But I kind of just believe our coaches don't think that he's ready for that kind of load, so let's move it around to other people. I mean, you might agree with that or disagree with that. I don't know. I'm still hopeful for DJ Moore this season that we're going to see more of him, and we're going to see more splash plays from him. But yeah, as of right now, we haven't seen too much, and I think we all want to see more. No pun intended.
More.
I think I saw a statistic on Twitter the other day, maybe today, that said Torrey Smith has only caught 42% of the balls thrown to him.
Yeah,
something
that's
crazy
true.
like that.
That's true. And I have the clip up right now.
He's a pro. He is a veteran, and he's dropping passes like that. That's what makes me mad. I mean, I'd rather put DJ Moore in and let him run maybe 4 routes the whole game. But I know when the ball gets to him, he's going to catch it.
I still say Cam could have pushed that upfield more, that ball.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the discussion online has been.
I disagree.
Yeah,
the ball
could have pushed it up further.
Right in the hand.
Yeah. It would have been nice even if he caught it and didn't get his feet in.
Right.
It is both. And also, but another thing to realize, if Cam does push it farther out, it does give the defensive back another opportunity to make a play on the ball as well. So when you're pushing it out to the sideline, you are depending on your receiver to be able to pull it in like that. So, Cam maybe could have thrown it farther. But at the same time, when your quarterback puts the ball in your hands, bring it in, man. On the first, I think that was the first play of the whole game.
First play of the game?
Yeah, you have to have those.
What more can you ask him to do? I mean, the quarterback. What more can you ask him to do other than hit you right in your hands?
Yeah, I mean, it is. Think about it. It's 40 yards downfield, and you're talking a matter of 6 inches. The throw could have been better if it was at a 1 degree different angle.
And then to bring it back around to the division talk, I feel like there are 2 or 3 receivers on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the New Orleans Saints, and the Atlanta Falcons that they're going to bring that pass in no matter what. On all three of those teams. I think that even though we upgraded our weapons on the receiving core, I still feel like ours, as of right now, is at the bottom of the NFC South.
You can go back and watch the post-game show, guys, and what we talked about, too, is that in some ways we're fortunate that A.J. Green goes down in that game. It makes it a lot easier on us to do what we have to do defensively. But A.J. Green made a catch that was insanely good. What we're trying to say is every time that pass goes awry, we go, well, what could have Cam done? That was 1 inch better. Instead of saying, oh, wow, that guy really pulled down a hell of a ball, right? We could also be saying that. Now, I was listening to the Keep Poundin' podcast, which is part of the Roy and Riot Network, and Tacos and Slurpees. He said this is that they were kind of positive pro Torrey Smith. They thought that this would be a decent acquisition, and I would say I was too. I thought it would be adequate, and maybe that's what it has been to this point. That touchdown catch was adequate enough to help us win. But he said, I'm ready to take the L on this, and he brought up a name that was interesting to me, Jason Avant. He said, this turns out to be more like Jason Avant Now, Torrey Smith is nowhere the same age. I think Jason Avant was like 32, 33, and Torrey Smith's only 30.
Alligator arm.
But he just got old quick, and maybe that's happened. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's time after the bye for DJ Moore to supplant Torrey Smith and Curtis Samuel to step into the role of DJ Moore.
I tell you what, Curtis Samuel coming back, man, in my mind, he cannot come back fast enough. Because now that we don't have Greg Olsen on the field, and we still don't know when Greg's going to come back, but having another guy on the field that they have to fear and they have to respect, that's going to mean so much for us. I would love to have him back against the Giants. I still haven't heard anything more about him or on him. But if we can get and I even heard that before Cincinnati, he was practicing with his helmet. They just didn't, I guess they just didn't want to rush it. So I don't know, man. Curtis Samuel on the field, in my mind, for this offense, might make a world of difference for our already potent offense. I believe that.
I mean,
I would like
before he got hurt.
He was
remember
tearing it up.
He was
tearing it up.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people in the pistol formation? There's 3 people around the quarterback, correct? In the pistol formation, there's a halfback. There's a guy to the left. Usually, I think they put a tight end to the right. And I don't know what it is. But what about this? What I want to see is we got to see for the first time in the history of this season, which is only 3 games, but we finally saw that misdirection, McCaffrey going one way, CJ Anderson going the other way, the threat of Cam Newton running. You've run a end around with DJ Moore by that point, or with Torrey Smith, somebody fast. But imagine that, a similar play to that, but Curtis Samuel being the guy who is doing the end around. Yeah. The effect of almost having, imagine Cam, Christian McCaffrey, CJ, and Curtis Samuel all being on the field in relative proximity to each other, running around like little crazy people around Cam, like his little minions, running around to do damage. I am ready to see that. I think, too, what I think is that the Panthers or Panther fans have slightly panicked a little bit on DJ Moore, even though I just said a little disappointing at this point. I want to say, I might continue to say Vernon Butler. Vernon Butler might be the most disappointing player. That's my guy. Vernon Butler's the most disappointing player that I've had on the Panthers since, I'm trying to think, like Dion Lewis. Sorry, D. Lewis. Tell the truth. Tuesday on WFNZ. Now, so I think there is a good possibility, in fact, I'm sure of it, that Norv Turner is not showing too much too early. We've played a division team. We've showed McCaffrey, and that's about it. Maybe, I'm still counting on this, DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel on the same attack. He's going to unleash it at the optimal time. And I don't think it's against the Giants. I think maybe he saves it for somebody where you see the real special playbook come out. But there's got to be something there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think he's
say it again?
I think he's building, like he's laying a foundation this first few weeks. Then he's adding a floor. Now, we've gone 3 weeks. He's getting ready to add another floor. Because we saw that McCaffrey in motion, Cam looked like he's going to throw it to him, and then turn around and throw over to CJ Anderson on the screen, where CJ scored. And I think you're going to start to see more of that kind of stuff as we go deeper into the season. He's adding layers to the playbook. And I'm excited, man. I can't wait to see what he's doing in week 10.
This might be a good time, though, after the bye to now look. I mean, obviously, when Curtis Samuel comes back, you can't just stick him in there. You can't do that while you've had DJ Moore languishing on the sidelines. It's DJ Moore's turn to get in there. And I'm wondering if after the bye, they have enough moxie to put out there Funchess and DJ Moore instead of Funchess and Torrey Smith. I don't think if at any case, does that reduce the threat of our downfield attack? Is Torrey Smith more of a downfield threat? It doesn't seem like, I don't know. I don't know if out on flatline speed, how much faster Torrey Smith is, if any, at this point in his career. But I don't think you lose much in that downfield attack if you put in DJ Moore, and you almost have the element of surprise or the unknown.
As far as speed goes, I don't think it's any you don't lose anything. I think DJ Moore is probably as fast, if not faster, than Torrey Smith.
All right. Guys, we're about. It's really go ahead.
It's really hard to know at this point who is faster between the two of them. I honestly think at this point in time, like that clip that we just showed, Torrey Smith was brought in to keep the defense honest and take the top off and at least have that threat on the field, which we hadn't had for 2 years, or at least one after Ted left. So, I don't know, like, especially with Torrey dropping passes, and that's been a problem with him for a while. I think I'm definitely in favor of DJ getting more looks doing that. Honestly, even more than that, I'm in favor of Curtis Samuel getting some more looks doing that. Just let the man – I mean, people forget that man ran a 4.31 at the combine, okay? The man can fly.
That boy's fast.
So when we get him on the field, let him fly, and let's use him and see if he has more reliable hands than Torrey Smith does.
All right, guys. First, I want to thank everybody for being a participant in the show on Facebook, YouTube. That chat is tremendous. We also have a great opportunity for you to be a participant in the show, and you to lead the conversation and have your voice heard among Panther Nation. It's called the Cat Calls line. The number is 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. And I want to encourage everybody to consider putting that in your phone, saving it in your phone, and calling on your way out of the game, calling on your way home from the stadium, and letting us so we can get that raw kind of reaction out on the post-game show afterwards. But we've got some great calls tonight, tons to talk about. We appreciate all your support.
What are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, you shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in the snow? Who's that kid that can use one?
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Jay Roof. Just calling back in.
Roof.
Just reflecting a little bit from the game. I listened to y'all's take on it. I was pretty excited for the win. I actually went to the game yesterday and had a couple things I wanted to kind of hit on. Number one was, me and my wife get to the game. We were pre-gaming a little bit at one of the local breweries. And there was just a lot of smack being talked by the Bengals fans, and I was really surprised by how many showed up.
Surprising.
I mean, they travel well. Wasn't expecting that at all. And, just some playful banter. They're going on about how they're hot right now. And to be honest, the only hot stuff that I saw was all the orange, the sea of orange underneath the misting cooling fans right outside of the stadium.
Dying.
Just, man, you guys travel well, but you can't handle the real heat down here in the Carolinas. So you guys got the Red Rocket and all, but you can't handle the heat down here, man. So I thought
Maybe
that
they
was
did
really
not
funny.
find
These
some.
guys are out here just dying in this heat. Can't even sit out in the stadium because it's so hot. But, man, the next thing I wanted to really say was I was really taken aback by just how the body language that I saw, and I know you guys commented on this last week, and I didn't hear you kind of hit on it in the post-game reaction. I want to say that I'm really happy that C.J. Anderson got a touchdown, because just seeing some of his body language on the sideline when McCaffrey's getting, carry after carry after carry, and I almost want to say that the reason he didn't get as many carries in this game was because of what happened after the last game, after the Atlanta loss. I mean, I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on that. But, man, I'm so glad he came in and made that big catch for a touchdown, because I was getting worried about my boy down there. He seemed like he was getting really frustrated. So, what are your thoughts on that? I'm really happy with the win. Thanks for everything you guys do. This is Jay Roof. I'm out.
Jay Roof, fantastic call, man. Cody, I got to say is that, if you are going to get a play where C.J. Anderson has some particular success, him getting in the end zone might cool some of that frustration a little bit. But I believe it's there. In fact, I know it's there. I believe that he's been playing with a chip on his shoulder in his entire career. I think he's felt overlooked his entire career. When he was in Denver, they were always trying to replace him with somebody, whether it was Hillman, or maybe Hillman was before his time, but it was just always these guys. And CJ was the one who was like the guy that always seemingly produced, except for he had one tough year, I felt like, where I think he was suffering from injury. But we have yet to see is that you got to remember he's on a 1-year contract. This guy is trying to show the NFL he's trying to play. How do you manage that, Cody? What have you seen about the body language, or not even the body language? How do you suspect that CJ feels about his role in Carolina at the moment?
Well, from everything I've seen, he seems to have fit right into the locker room. I think the guys love him. And I want to point out, man, shout out to Norv Turner on that play. Because not only did they give CJ the ball, but the play calling was really, really good on that. I mean, we had 3 linemen moving downfield, moving people out of the way. It seems like before CJ even got his hands on the ball. So that was a great play call by Norv. And yeah, CJ Anderson, I'm really a fan of him getting the ball on that 40-yard line between the 40 to the end zone. I really do think, especially with Christian McCaffrey just playing out of his mind, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, CJ Anderson is for lack of a better term, a really good change of pace back. And he's been doing work. And as we move on, I expect to see him get the ball a lot more and have some really meaningful touches to go along with it.
Joe, I think Cody's right on this, is that I think that I don't think that he's over, or that the coaching staff has not considered his value and his ability to run. He's obviously produced at every point that we've given him a chance on a very limited thing, but I feel like they're trying to sell the Christian McCaffrey show at this point and sell it to other defenses. But we could expect to see CJ Anderson integrated later in the season, where McCaffrey might be running into a little bit of wall from the action that he's had, as well as in a role much like Mike Tolbert was used in San Diego. So do you think the coaching staff is completely forgetting about CJ, or do you think that they are going to find a way to manage Christian McCaffrey with the balance of him?
Yeah, I think that's exactly their plan, is to just feature McCaffrey early in the year, and as the year progresses and we get later into the season, you'll start to see more of CJ coming in and us, really lining up in the I formation and pounding the rock. the guy's talented, man. You saw his talent when he caught that ball. How he just kind of kept a nice pace behind his lineman, and then when he had the opportunity, he scooted right between them and right into the end zone. He has
been
very
there
good
before.
patience. Yeah, he's got great patience, and he's got a really good eye for seeing, when to make his move.
Fantastic call. Thank you, Jay Roof. But on top of that, the problem has got less to do with CJ at this point and more to do that Christian McCaffrey has just been beasting out there. So let's go to Jay Cryer. And we're going to Jay Cryer in England, man.
Yeah, boy. It's your boy Jay Cryer coming from a balcony in Ibiza. Just want a quick note just to shout out my boy Abada, representing us English boys. Dante Jackson is a beast. Love him. Swag. Just what we've been missing.
That's exactly
imagine
his
what we're going to be like when TD's back. And yeah, just hope all the boys are good. Keep pounding, and I'll catch you all soon.
Jay Cryer, man, that's my brother right there. That dude is my brother from another mother. Like, I feel like if you let us loose on the bar, that place would be annihilated. Like, it would just leave that bar in wreckage and a wasteland. We were done. Jay Cryer, though, shouting out to in shambles. Obata, man, good Lord. Dude, this guy had a hell of a game. The first international player, I think, to actually make the roster in the field. I don't know. Don't quote me on that part. But dude just picked up football 2 days ago. And he's out there making game-changing plays. I think we really needed it, too. We needed a spark, something, because Julius Peppers coming off a shoulder surgery. You can only ask him to do so much. I think we've asked Mario Addison to do a ton so far. So having a little relief in there, Obata, man, got my vote. While you can't be the president of Panther Nation because you're not a citizen, will make you the first diplomat.
The president of C3. The president of our pass rush.
Yeah, you can be the president of Panther Nation. That's the one country you don't need to be a citizen in, actually.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
so
listen, man.
that,
Obata, I wanted to see him replace Wes Horton. I mean, Wes Horton has done some good things. He's been here for a while. But, every time I see Wes Horton on the field, I always have this feeling all right, well, we're not getting any pressure on that side of the field. I mean, he's good in run defense. Wes is good in run defense, but it's I want to see both of our edge defenders really be able to rush the passer, and I don't think Wes Horton is good for that. I think Obata, he might come out of nowhere and really mean a lot for this team. I think he wowed the coaches, and I think they like what he was able to do. And I'm really impressed with him. I think the sky is the limit for him. It's a great story. He's the definition of what keep pounding was meant to resemble and embody. I love the man. I'm pulling for him hardcore, man.
he looks like Frank Gore. Not Frank Gore. Who am I thinking? Frank Alexander's size with the motor of a smaller guy. There's a motor, and go ahead.
I was gonna say, I was watching the post-game press conference. Cam Newton calls him Wakanda, and I love that, man. I thought that was so funny.
Wakanda, that's awesome.
Wakanda.
All right,
Cam with the nickname.
That's great. Let's keep pounding through these cat calls. Thanks, Jake Cryer.
Hi, guys. Chicago Kid here. I'm still alive. Just been off the grid a bit. I'm going to ice up my own phone because I definitely called 2 weeks ago and went through the podcast like 3 times, and I was like, where did my call go? And I think maybe it was intercepted by a spy from the Patriots. I don't know. Anyway,
or it could have just been dumbass Tony.
To the podcast kind of backwards. So I got to hear all the upset stuff from the Atlanta game. It was upsetting. It was very upsetting. But without rehashing everything, I will agree with you guys. I don't understand why we get just a force like C.J. Anderson and especially DJ Moore, who in a couple of chances he got really showed off why we drafted him. I really don't know why we're not. I mean, it's not a poker game. Why are you hiding all your chips or hiding all your cards? You don't hide chips. Anyway, long story short,
I'm hungry now.
hopefully we bounce back. I really don't know how I would receive us losing to a football team from Ohio. So anyway, just rest assured that I'll continue being checked out in my Panthers gear. Chicago bars, getting laughed at until they realized that the Panthers winning. The best thing was with the Cowboys, all the cockroach Cowboys fans that came out to the bar, and watching them. That was pretty hilarious.
Dang.
Anyway, guys, keep doing what you're doing. Keep pounding, and let's win this game this weekend.
Fun time. That was from before the Bengals game. Thank you, Chicago kid. Did not lose that call. Here we go. Let's keep pounding through.
Hey, guys. This is Mel. I'm from Charlotte, but I'm currently in beautiful Kansas City, Missouri. I work on the road. I appreciate what you guys do. You guys are a good show to listen to while I'm driving. I guess my question is, out of the NFC South opponents, which one is the most formidable, I guess, 3 weeks into the season? I'm thinking the Bucs are looking pretty scary with that high-flying offense so far. But, of course, we always match up well against the Saints and we've already played the Falcons earlier this year. That's just my question. Keep it up. Thanks. Keep pounding.
All right. Thanks, Mel. That circles us back to a conversation we wanted to have and we really didn't have adequately. And that is this NFC South division is tough. And that is a difficult question to answer. Cody, I'll open it up to you. Who's the most formidable? We got to see. Don't be too presentist about the loss of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just because it was last night.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely not sleeping on Tampa, but I'm going to have to agree with our longtime friend and viewer, Shaked Baltar. And, yeah, man, I'm still saying the Saints. I think until proven otherwise, and I know that they've also had some defensive woes, but I think that they're going to get back Mark Ingram and that 1-2 punch of Ingram and Kamara on offense. I mean, that's it's like they're going to be able to put points on the board, you know, and then I just think that as of right now, they're the ones that give me the heebie-jeebies the most. I will say that I do like that we play them at the end of the season. So we play them week 14 and week 16. So those are going to be the times where I think that we're going to know what kind of team they are. And by that time, it's probably going to be whoever wins those 14, 15, and week 16 games. That's probably going to be for the division. So, you know, you mix in Atlanta. I just think that they're going to get their defense back on track. And I think the Saints right now, they're the ones that probably – and come on, they beat us 3 times last year. You know, I mean, they had our number last year. Until we beat them, you know, it has to be proven otherwise.
Go to you. Who's the most formidable?
Yeah, I gotta agree. I think right now, until they're beaten, you gotta go with the Saints. They have the most talent on their roster, I believe, at the skill positions. But their defense isn't as good as it was last year. Last year, their defense was pretty legit, don't you think?
Yeah, the Saints.
But they also turned it on late, too.
What's that?
Their team, Cody was saying they turned it on late last year. Their defense played a lot better than expected last year. In fact, yeah, I think it played above. Sometimes I look at a team and I go, this is that your offense going into the season expected to do this. Did you exceed, meet, or fall below expectations? Your defense, and what you're really trying to do is exceed expectations on one, meet expectations on the other two. I feel like, and I felt like on defense, they exceeded expectations as well as on offense. And that's why they were so potent. They have not played well defensively this year. I mean, you gave up 30 in your first game. The Bucks come out and score all over you. The Falcons score all over you. I understand the fear of the New Orleans Saints, that they are a slightly one-dimensional team. Obviously, that one dimension is pretty damn formidable, being that what is it? Kamara and who's the Coleman? Who's their number one? Michael. No, their number one receiver, Michael.
Thomas.
Michael Thomas. Yeah.
So that offense is crazy good, but I actually think my answer is I believe that the Atlanta Falcons are the most rounded team in this division, except for that they are also, like us, are struggling with a little bit of injury. But man, I think they're.
I would agree.
Yeah.
If they were healthy, I would agree.
How about this? The Panthers are the most formidable. Boom. Take that.
They are. But you know what? I can't say the Falcons, though. And it's not even a joke at this point. They have such a tendency to let the game go at the very end. Look at our game. We were one pass in the end zone away from tying the ball game. I just don't trust the Falcons at all. I just don't trust them. That's why I honestly would put the Buccaneers ahead of the Falcons. It's
wow,
Saints,
I wouldn't.
Bucks,
Crazy.
Saints, Bucks, Falcons. That's how I go.
Wow. Tough. Man. Great question. Great call. Appreciate it. Let's go to the next call.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Brandon Herbert.
What's going on, Brandon?
Last week or Sunday or whatever, I'm trying to win every day. I just want to finish my thoughts. I think I left off with talking about how Cody was right, and basically saying that Dante Jackson is a baller. Dante Jackson surprised me a little bit. Like, I still don't like the fact that we play off so much, but whenever he's pressed, he's at his best. Both of those picks, except for the one downfield, but I think both of them came off when he was in press coverage at the start of the play, because he jams pretty good. And I already mentioned how S.A. and Bada really impressed me. Like this defense, it's still a work in progress, but I'm liking the direction that it's going. Remember, when we get TD back, that's going to be awesome. I think he's going to bring like the energy to what is missing sometimes with Panthers and everything like that. Loving that. Still don't know what Ronald's problem is about DJ Moore. Like, I love the fact how our offense is going. Like I told y'all, that play with the screen pass that got the touchdown shows why we fired Mike Shula. He could never come up with that. So
I agree.
Yeah, and all I can say is we need to get DJ Moore in, because our receivers still constantly are underwhelming. They're probably the worst, and our offensive line is damaged, but they played pretty good. Our receivers look like the weak link now, and we need to resolve that. And DJ Moore, I believe, can do that. We chose DJ Moore over Calvin Ridley for a reason, and that's because playmaking ability and because he can break tackles. So we need to implement him a little bit more. Anyway, guys, sorry I called you late. Just let me know what you think, and just keep finding.
Shout out to Brandon Herbert, man. And I know you mentioned me talking about Dante Jackson, and I've said this before. My brother's a diehard LSU fan. He's also a Saints fan. He's from New Orleans, but I've been aware of Dante Jackson when he was at LSU, because I would watch the LSU Tigers with my brother, and I would always be like, man, who is that number one flying around on the field? and it was Dante Jackson, man. So it was almost like it was preordained. I love it. I love the way he plays. Whenever he's lined up against the receiver, he doesn't bite on the fake, and I love that. So he's not you're not going to trick him. I mean, he's playing a lot older than he is. He's playing great football. It seems like he's taking well to coaching. I love Dante Jackson, man. He is doing wonders for our backfield. He has like 3 interceptions already, man. The guy is just balling. That's all I got to say about Dante. Balling.
He's got more interceptions than DJ Moore has catches.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's crazy. Crazy.
Joe, we've seen some pairings over the last. We've been doing the show for 6 years now. I think we started doing the show in 2012. We've seen some pairings, a lot of revolving doors in that secondary. Right now, James Bradbury playing probably the best we've seen him play so far in his career, which is expected now that he's hitting a point where he could be growing into his potential. But this might be right now the best cornerback pairing we've had, period. I mean, that year in 2015 with Josh Norman was helpful, but Peanut, once he went down, Peanut Tillman was old and he was playing on the side. This has a lot of upside here.
Oh, yeah. This is something where you're going to see these two continue to play together, and they are going to grow, and they are going to be an absolutely excellent tandem for years to come, hopefully.
Guys, this is the Cat Calls line. You can be a part of the program by calling and leaving a voicemail. The number is 252-228-5098. We appreciate everybody who's participating in the chat. Go ahead, smash that thumbs up button, hit us a subscribe, and tell a friend about the show. We've grown. We crested 1,000 on YouTube. We crested 6,000 on Twitter. So we are growing because of you guys and because of these calls. Let's keep pounding through them.
Hey, guys, Maurice Carter again. Lastly, our linebackers and our defensive ends. I like to see Jermaine Carter Jr. come in there and switch off with Shaq. And I would like to see Marquise Haynes come in and take snaps from Pep, let them alternate. It doesn't always have to be that way, but Marquise Haynes needs to be on the field, guys. He's too good. But I don't want to pull Addison off the field. And since Pep, he is a Panther legend. He gets his snaps. He's Pep, but he didn't have a training camp, and he's not in football shape just yet. He's got to get his legs and his wind under him. So Marquise Haynes is too valuable to stay on the sideline, guys. He disrupted those boys in the backfield the entire preseason. We need to put him in the game. We need pressure on the quarterback. Matty Ice tore us up. But if Marquise Haynes was coming in and Addison on the other side, bringing that speed, there's no way in the world Matty Ice would have ran that ball in the end zone.
This was a call that I missed in the past.
For first downs. He's too slow. Okay. Haynes would have got him. He would have caught him. Let's use him. Like I said, answers on the roster, fellas. Answers on the roster. Maurice, Andrew, North Carolina. Keep pounding.
Though the call, I missed it in the past, and we're kind of cycling through a couple of them from last week that were in between the post game and our show last week. This one must have slipped through the cracks. But you go here and you look at this, is that while that before last week, now Obata's that name. I continue to think this, though. You guys have mentioned Obata playing a larger role. Cody mentioned him in substitute of Wes Horton in some cases. I think Obata performed really well on pass rushing downs. What we've seen is Mario Addison took a long time to become a player that knew what to do when you weren't rushing the quarterback. and still to make an impact. That's my concern with both of these young players. And maybe Obata, his rugby, I don't know if he's got rugby experience. He looks and acts like a rugby player in so many ways. I feel like the way that he caught that ball on that interception, the way he's done some, like, it really contorts his body, I feel like, in different manners than we're used and accustomed to seeing defensive ends and men that big do it. So I don't know if what the right combination is, but I do know where this coaching staff is going to be hesitant and where they continue to go to Wes Horton is that, look, on running downs or potential running downs, these guys go from an asset to potentially a liability.
Very true. That is very true.
Yeah.
Speed is a great asset when you're trying to rush the passer, but if you're not strong enough to hold the edge, teams will take advantage of that. They will find your weakness and they will abuse you with it. So that's something that's going to be learned.
Yeah, and I definitely think that seeing him more on passing downs would be a good thing to test him out on. I remember watching a video clip. I forgot what it was, but Ron Rivera was mic'd up, and he said, "Man, did you see what Marquise just did? Look, just like Mario." So he has the potential. He has that burst, that athleticism, and just because a guy is smaller doesn't always mean that he's going to be deficient in run blocking on the edge. A lot of it is technique and just being able to plant your feet and really just shove your hands into the chest of the tackle. All that stuff is learned, and guys pick it up at different times. But I don't know. Right now, I'm interested in the hot hand. If that's Obata, I say let's play him. But I do want to see some more Marquise Haynes, especially if we're blowing out the team. Why not put him in, man? Let him get some snaps.
Gotta get the game right.
That's where Obata came in. If you think about it, we're playing with a lead at that point. You're putting the opponent in some down and distance markers and a field position game where you can take the risk of sending the defensive ends a little bit more aggressively, right? Because of where you are on the field, maybe knowing that they're more inclined to pass. They didn't put Obata in the beginning of the game, is my point. But I do think we need a contribution from Wes Horton. I think it's going to be a rotation of all three of these guys that we need to make plays. And I'm glad Obata is a guy that's actually made a play, because I don't think it's fair to us to ask too much of Julius Peppers either. Last year we used him in a reserve role in many ways, and it worked great. I think when you heard Ron Rivera say we need Pep out there, more plays and more snaps, I think it's because the other guys are a step down from him, not because Pep is old and they're not worried about his health anymore. So and when I say old, what I mean by that is that because he's the veteran, that they want him out there more. We need Pep to be a force. We don't need to wear him out in the wrong ways. So I like the idea of these guys showing up. Let's keep going.
What's up, guys? You guys are doing an amazing show tonight, man. It's Tacos and
This is from last week's show. I missed it while we were playing.
Out for a little bit, man. Just want to say keep up the great work. And I heard somebody say the 24-hour rule. I like that, man. I think I'm going to start using that. 24 hours after the game, you got to get over, move on. On to Cincinnati, man. My eyes are really going to be on how we contain A.J. Green. I think we did a great job containing Julio Jones last week. Really looking to see Dante Jackson take that next step, Bradbury to continue to play great. But I'm looking at our safety situation with Cersei having a concussion, wondering how that plays out. Also wondering if Luke is really 100% after that Dallas game. We saw him against Atlanta. He's still Luke Kuechly, don't get it wrong, but we did see him make some mistakes that he doesn't normally make. Just wondering if he's really 100%. Really looking at this defense going into this game Sunday, playing against Cincinnati. Already know our offense is going to click even more. And as you guys said, get me out of Funchville and into DJ Mooreville. I think we're going to see that happen, man. I think we're going to see a lot of that come Sunday. Ron Rivera spoke of DJ Moore a couple of times, I believe. I know that, was it 51 or 52-yard touchdown he had? He made a couple of moves, beat 2 or 3 guys. I think we're going to see more of Ben in Charlotte come Sunday. So, guys, keep pounding and keep doing a great job, guys.
That's Tacos and Slurpees from the Keep Pounding podcast. We appreciate the phone call. It was in the middle of our show last week, and I'm trying to get in the habit of checking the cat calls right before we're done with them to see if there's any new ones. In fact, I'm refreshing the screen right now. So there's a call, even though what I love about the calls from last week is still how they parallel into our discussions this week. I think we saw the excitement of Luke Kuechly when he saw Thomas Davis at that event. I think that having Thomas Davis as an on-field assistant coach with him is going to make Kuechly feel – I think that maybe Kuechly is sometimes so concerned about being the general of the defense, instructing the defense in so many ways that he has to take a little mental energy off of what he's supposed to be doing. And not that has turned into bad play, but imagine if we could just have more focused on this, if he just knows Thomas Davis is talking to his half of the field a little bit so that he doesn't have to worry about that. It's kind of like when Cody puts up a clip and I don't have to do it. It just makes my conversation that much better. Maybe Luke Kuechly can zero in even more than he already has. Dante Jackson's come out and played tremendous. We did not get to see DJ Moore, but let's go to that safety conversation because that is where Tacos and Slurpees mentioned it last week with Denoris Searcy, who at that time was put on IR, I guess he was just on the injury report. Now he's on IR. The talk of the town right now is Torrey Smith coming out lobbying for Eric Reed. Guys, there is now I saw who is it? Sorensen, who writes for maybe the Charlotte Observer. He's kind of like the old hat there, the guy everybody super respects. He's saying, Sorensen. I think that's right. So he's coming out and saying like this is the time the Carolina Panthers need to make that move as the step of the NFL franchise. What I have to say about Cody, can you cue up the Torrey Smith clip for us?
Sure can.
So let's hear this because I'm going to, after Torrey Smith spoke.
Pro Bowl caliber safety, 26 years old, first round pedigree, and one of the best men that I know. So, I know that, teams obviously they have to be interested in him. And honestly, with our injuries, I hope he ends up here. I know how he is talent. And, if it's something where they come and talk to me about him, I'll be glad to talk about him as a player, as a person. I mean, he's easily one of the best men. I hope that's something that can happen for us because I know that with the injuries we have, he's a guy that can help this team.
All right, that's Torrey Smith there lobbying for Eric Reed. For me, guys, I feel like what I thought about this today is I feel like I'm suffering from what I call the Trump effect when it comes to Eric Reed talk. And that is we've been talking about Eric Reed, first of all, for like 8 months about how he could be a great addition to the Carolina Panthers. We've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks as we continued, I think, after Denoris Searcy went down the first time. The Trump effect for me, guys, is I've been bludgeoned to death with the conversation of Eric Reed that now everybody else is starting to pay attention to it, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. Tired of it.
Yeah, we already had that long
where y'all been at? We wore
this
conversation out 3 weeks ago, but now the mainstream guys, Torrey Smith comes out advocating for him. I'll open it up to you, Cody. I think the main line so far is as long as he's suing the NFL, he will not have a job. These owners are going to stick together. I don't know if I agree with that perspective. At this point, is it even possible at this point that Eric Reed plays for the Carolina Panthers, or are we continuing to have the pipe dream that we've had?
Well, first, shout out to Tacos and Slurpees, man. That guy is one of my favorite follows on Twitter when it comes to Panthers football. Their podcast is awesome, so shout out to him. Listen, as far as Eric Reed, I mean, I know he's not going to be on the team. We know he's not going to be on the team. I mean, Ron Rivera said, I think today, that he's happy with what they saw at the safety position, which just boggles my mind, dude. I don't understand that at all. But, when it comes to Eric, like, my mindset is, if you hired the guy and said, yeah, hey, we want you to come play, like, isn't that all the evidence you would need to show in court to say, hey, we're not saying this guy can't play.
Amen.
We're not blackballing him. Look, we signed him in the middle of the season.
Finally, somebody that is, because the main line on this has been that if he is suing the NFL, nobody's going to want to mess with him because, I guess, of the overlap between the suit and him being on the team. But for me, signing him to a team automatically undermines, at least somewhat, the collusion blackball conspiracy that he says exists.
Yeah.
The owners say doesn't. But if you don't hire him in the face of all this, it only lends to him. My continued position is I think at this point he's dug in too, and that he's saying it's too late to hire me. Maybe. I don't know. The Carolina Panthers, Joey, is it a pipe dream? Eric Reed and the Carolina Panthers?
As long as he's got litigation going against the Panthers, I don't think, or against the league, excuse me, because the Panthers are a member of this league, I think they are prohibited from adding him to the roster. If he was to drop the litigation, that's another story.
But you can't ask him to drop the suit in hopes that someone will sign him. He has to be signed and then go, my case isn't strong anymore. So I don't like... No, I mean...
If they make an arrangement like, okay, you drop the case, we'll sign you. If they do that kind of thing, then it can happen. But if he's expected to get signed and then drop, I don't think that can happen. I think they have to go in one particular order.
So the need, now this goes to this, is a couple of things we can parallel into this call. One is, let's get to the title of the show, Colin Jones versus the bye. You know, Colin Jones he was involved in two of these. He was both involved in all those touchdowns. He had a rough game. Tough game, not all his fault, sometimes his fault. Ron Rivera comes out and he's asked about Eric Reed, but really my idea is that Ron Rivera's comments give us zero insight into really what the Panthers are believing. What is he going to come out and say? Yeah, we need a guy like Eric Reed because our safeties are trash. Colin Jones sucks. He's super fast when it doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. He's the fastest man alive when it doesn't matter. That's right. So, I mean, what is Ron really going to come out and say, though? He has to be like, part of being a coach is saying you believe in your guys, even if you don't believe in your guys. You got to believe in them when they don't. Right now, Colin Jones don't believe in himself, probably. He believes in himself as much as Twitter believes in himself. So Ron Rivera's got to go out and say Rashawn Golden and him can carry the water. They're ready to do this when their number is called. So I don't think that his comments really give us too much insight on that. But the reason I named the show Colin Jones versus the bye, my question to you is, does Colin Jones survive the bye? And my response, and what I mean by survive the bye, is I know he's going to be on the team. He's not going to get released. Is Colin Jones the starter at safety again against the New York Giants? Or does the bye win and the Carolina Panthers try to either coach up Rashawn Golden quickly, put him out there, or do they go and get somebody, even if it's not Eric Reed or someone else? I'll start with you, Joey. Does Colin Jones survive the bye?
I think they're gonna make the move to Golden, only because he can do the same thing that Jones is doing, and at least he'll be getting experience. He'll be getting to those game reps in the system, and he'll be able to really, being out there, you begin to develop and understand why they're coaching you to do these things. So that's what I think. I think they're going to go Golden.
Jetta Jor says this is a great comment, is that he's doing exactly, he didn't say this part, I'm adding this part in. He's doing exactly what Ron Rivera's not. He says this, it's sad when Torrey Smith is advocating for you to be replaced. Torrey Smith is in there throwing Colin Jones under the bus for his boy, and he's dropping passes in the same instance. Does Colin Jones survive the bye, Cody?
I have to say I think he does, man. Because of
he's
what
the
we
starter
already know.
against the Giants.
He's a starter, and we all know that he's gonna be the starter, man. Listen, none of us like Colin Jones, but this is a problem that we have. Not only does Ron Rivera not value safeties very highly, it doesn't appear Marty Herney does either. The Carolina Panthers have not drafted a safety in the first round since Thomas Davis. And here's a hint.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm talking just in the first round. They've drafted safeties. And here's another thing. Thomas Davis isn't a safety anymore. So what does that tell you? It's like out of all the defensive positions, they don't value safety very highly. They want corners more than safeties playing higher levels. I don't know, man. I don't think that, also if you factor in the fact that Ron is very hesitant to play some of the younger players, especially if he doesn't feel they're up to snuff. So, no, I am not hopeful that someone other than Colin Jones will be playing at free safety at free safety by the time we play New York. I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't see it happen, man. I think we're going to be putting up with Colin Jones for a while longer.
This is awesome. There was a question in the chat room is what other safeties are available on the market. So I just Googled free agent safeties. I encourage everybody to Google free agent safeties. And the line across goes this. This is going to be, wait till you get to the fifth name. Eric Reed, Tyvon Branch, who was with the Oakland Raiders, Mike Mitchell, former Carolina Panther, former Pittsburgh Steeler, Nate Allen. But right now they are listing on Google Mike Adams as a free agent.
Oh, man.
Wow.
poor Mike Adams, man. They're shopping him in free agency. Nah.
Mike Adams has played pretty well, too. So it's
has. Hey, bro, we need
not a free agent.
We need to look. There's some names down there, way down. How about Dante Whitner? When was the last time he played football? It's been a year and a half. Deshaun Goldson's down on that list. There is nobody out there.
Deshaun
Mike
Goldson,
Mitchell.
that's a name I haven't heard in years and years.
Yeah. How about this? Another name that we've been waiting to hear today signed. Brashard Breeland signs with the Packers.
Did he really? I didn't hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. Just happened about probably 8:45 I saw it. So that's a great question. Who do we have at safety? Does Colin Jones survive the bye? I tend to lean towards that maybe Joey's right in putting Rashawn Golden, but I think that Cody is probably right in the fact that in name, the team will not want to start him over Colin Jones. I think we're kind of stuck with Colin Jones for right now and hoping, praying that I don't know, that Rashawn Golden all of a sudden can really show out in practice or something while we're on this bye. Maybe they coach him specifically for that game. Fantastic calls. As we still have more to go, guys.
C3, Maurice Carter calling out of Angel, North Carolina. Hey, fellas, I want to make some changes to our lineup. You tell me how this sounds.
He's back.
Funches was a tight end at Michigan. Remember, he was number 1.
Oh,
and
this.
he was
Okay.
a very good
I'm
tight
glad he
end.
brings this up.
Let's move Funches over to replace Olsen.
Look, he just dropped another
Have
call
Ian
too.
Thomas and Manhurts take the snaps on the opposite side. If we run a 2 tight end set, move DJ Moore into Funch's spot. Let Torrey handle the number 2, but mix him with Curtis Samuels when Samuels comes back. Bring Jarris Wright in at the slot, but let him mix it with Bird. Get Bird back in the game. Bring in Samuels, like I said. C.J. Anderson and C-Mac should have a 2-back set. And that way they won't know what we're doing all the time, either running or passing to a back out of the backfield. And flipping Cameron Honors-Payne along with
Oh,
DJ
God.
Anderson. But
We're getting 12 men on the field.
Not every down, but most downs. All right. Move Dante Jackson to the free safety spot. Bring in Doss. Put him at corner.
Holy cow, this guy's moving them around like chess pieces.
And every so often you can bring in Captain Muddlin. But I think
and Brian, you can play a couple of snaps up in there if you
Adams
want.
and Gaulden, because, you know, Adams needs a break. But alternate Gaulden with Adams. And I think that will solve our problem. The answers on the roster, guys. Answers on the roster. Maurice Carter calling out Andrew, North Carolina. Keep pounding.
Maurice is moving the pieces around chessboard.
Maurice has been playing too much Madden.
Nah, he ain't been playing too. You know what? I'll tell you this is that I've been playing a little bit of Madden lately, and I can't do any of those fancy things. I can't get any of these fancy stuff. I know, like that clock's clicking so fast, ticking down. I'm trying to remember the routes for these 3 receivers, this and that. There ain't no way I'm motioning a guy over.
I hear you, man. I used to play a ton in high school, but I've fallen off of it. But listen, I want to bring up something, and I'm glad that Maurice brings it up because I keep on hearing it, and I hate the idea every time I hear it. And I get it's people just suggesting it because they want this team to be better. But please stop telling me about Devin Funchess at tight end. Okay, the guy has a wide receiver body. There's a reason why he doesn't play that position anymore. Part of what you have to do at tight end is be able to block. I mean, you have to be able to pick up blocks and then get free. I mean, just because Devin is 6'4" doesn't mean that he's built to do that. You know, I know he played some at Michigan, but the fact that he didn't stay there, that should tell you pretty much all you need to do. Yeah, the dude eats salad for
salad. Salad is his favorite food.
Yeah, have you ever met a tight end where there's salad? You know what? I have, but she was a she. I'm a tight end.
Yeah, man. It's like I hear people say that a lot. It's not just Maurice saying that. It's not just Maurice saying put Devin at tight end. Listen, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, okay? I promise you that. You do not want to see Devin Funchess at tight end. That's a promise.
Powering through. Let's keep going.
Yo, what's going on? It's Mario from Greenville.
Mario?
I just wanted to say a little bit.
Mario from Greenville,
y'all get me through my work day on Wednesday mornings when I listen to y'all. I was actually on the shindig at y'all over the weekend, and right when I was about to talk, my phone died. But like I said, man, I'm a newfound Panthers fan. I love the Panthers, man. Win, lose, or draw, I feel like I'm a part of these guys. But once again, man, I love hearing from y'all. Keep pounding.
All right, man. Appreciate that, Mario. You guys, we're going to get that shindig. We're going to get the shindig to work where, I mean, obviously it works already, but we're going to come up with, we're going to get it. So we're going to be cycling y'all in. Keep calling. Look, Maurice, he's mad at you, Joe. Here he comes.
Hey, gents. Maurice Carter, Andrew, North Carolina. Listen, enjoying the show.
This was
tonight.
Right before Joe's.
That was a great win against Cincinnati. I thought our team played well. This show tonight is right on point. Listen, we know Eric Reed is not gonna be on the Panthers squad. I do like, however, him being advocated by Torrey Smith. I think it's a great vote of confidence. But I think our answer for our situation in safety is Dante Jackson. Dante Jackson should be moved to free safety. And Dawg,
he said this in the last call
take
too.
Dante's spot at corner. And I agree that Obata is the new defensive end that's playing outstanding right now. But I also think that we need to utilize Marquise Haynes and Obata in the rotation. And I also believe that DJ Moore needs to move over to Funch's spot, and Funch's needs to be moved back to tight end like he played in college.
We already addressed
and that will put our weapons.
Man, he
on the
came
field.
back at
and
you.
when Samuel's
He said,
coming
no.
back, he could take some snaps from Torrey Smith, and we have all of
We're
our
gonna have
weapons.
to gong you as they do
We have
on WFNZ.
all of our guys, all fresh legs, and like you said, the pistol. Put
That's what I want to say. Now we're talking.
put CJ back there with C Mac. They won't be able to know what we're going to do, and rotate everybody, and keep everybody fresh. And it's one constant pounding. Maurice Carter, Andrew, North Carolina, keep pounding.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Maurice, for calling into the Cat Calls line. The number is 252-228-5098. So while let's just push the Funches thing out of our mind because we don't think that that's probably real. I actually don't even think at this point Dante Jackson, maybe the free safety if we would have had Breland and we signed him and did some things that would work. But right now, Jackson's playing so well where he's at. I think it would just be I think you would be taking a guy who's really good at a position that can make a real impact and putting him at a position that you're weak in that he could be okay at, but have to learn and some different things. And I don't think the free safety is as much of an impact position in so many ways that Dante can be where he's at. So, but then let's move to this. Is so like where you're talking about, we put those to the side in some ways. What he does raise is there are interesting questions right now about the rotation, the right rotation of finding these guys, whether it be on defensive end, rotating them in the right order. We've seen them struggle between Poe, Butler, and KK and Love, trying to find the right combo at the right time. Then you go to, again, this wide receiver position and the running back position. How do you continue to, like you said, keep that constant pounding on them offensively? I think at this point, the answer now is to make more rotational changes at wide receiver.
Well, let me just jump in here real quick with one thing about what Maurice said. He actually might be onto something. While I don't agree with putting Dante at free safety, in one of the All-22 clips I was looking at, they did have Dante at the free safety position for one or two plays. So they're not afraid to do it, and they did do it against Cincinnati. We just didn't notice it. So, I mean, I don't advocate for keeping him there, obviously, but it is something that they did. So Maurice isn't off his rocker, okay? Let's just say that. But I will say this about rotation. That's how you win championships is on defense. And if you constantly have a fresh rotation of guys that aren't tired, that are getting after the passer and stopping the run on the field, that's important, man. As you get into November and December, you need rotational players specifically on the defensive line to be able to come in and make an impact. And that's why a lot of times we're disappointed in Vernon Butler for not being that first-round draft pick pass rusher that we drafted him to be, So I'm not opposed to subbing out different guys. I do want to see some guys start to get some more looks. Haynes, and now we have Obata. Wes Horton is still on the team. Rotating our players on defense is going to be very important, especially as we're moving into the later months of football.
Guys,
it's vital. I think it's vital to have success. You have to bring in guys in. You can't just run the same 4 or 5 guys out there to rush the passer all game long. You'll run out of steam, and in the fourth quarter, you'll have nothing.
Yeah,
guys, we got one
100%.
last cat call that just came in. We'll get to it, and then we'll start wrapping the show up.
Hey guys, this is Mel again. I'm listening to the show right now. I forgot to bring this up. I wanted to bring it up. Cam in his postgame interview had said that on the touchdown throw to Funches, he had wished that he had been mic'd up because he had told Funches to get his fat ass into the end zone, and then he continued to do that and get the touchdown. My thing is, why is Cam not mic'd up on every week? He's like too good to not be mic'd up every week that he's out there. That's just my thoughts. Keep on.
He knows now the cam. Well, I mean, obviously he's known the cameras on him the whole time, but ever since that time where he said, "Hey, the real route, you've been watching film," and that went ballistic, Cam is up there saying a couple of things, calling off a couple of things, and giggling and smiling at them because he knows the camera's looking right at his face. I know he did that on purpose a couple of times. And who better to call a fat ass than the guy who eats salad 27? He's like, nobody's going to get mad about this. I often wonder, I don't think they can mic up. I think the reason they don't mic up quarterbacks so much is because, like, hey, there's so much information on the field that they're probably getting that they won't be able to use, period, just because it'd be unfair, I think. Is that so? You might as well just mic up a defensive player instead, where you're not going to hear a lot of the things. That's kind of where I'm at on that. All right, guys, let's keep going.
I always thought that it had to do with like cheating, because when they're in the huddle, they're calling plays, and then you see what play ends up being run. Like, you don't want someone that works for the NFL. And, he's a Bengals fan. You don't want him relaying message about what's what. So it's probably a safety thing more than anything else. But yeah, Cam Newton is the most entertaining player in football, and whoever number 2 is, they're not close.
There's some personalities out there in the NFL world, and Cam is one of the greatest. He's my, there ain't a bigger fan right here than Cam. By the way, if you want to support the show, you can buy a Cam Wow. Only $5, man. It's the coolest towel. And reports are Cam has got a Cam Wow in his own apartment. Someone told me that like 5 years ago. Guys, let's just do this real quick. Let's pick the division games. No need to really talk too much about them. The Panthers are on a bye, so we can't pick the Panthers. The Bucks are at the Bears. Joe, who you got, Bucks or Bears?
I'm gonna go Bears.
I'm going Bears as well, man. The defensive line versus the Bucks offensive line is going to be murderous. Cody, who you got in this game?
Yeah, man, that makes 3 of us. I'm also going Chicago. That defense is nasty, and Khalil Mack, John Gruden will regret that forever. Letting Khalil Mack
already
go.
Oh my gosh,
Dude, he's a man amongst boys. He's nasty on the field. I think that defense is going to get it done, and Mitch Trubisky is getting better and better every game. So, yeah, I think we're going to see Tampa come back to earth a little bit. I'm going Chicago.
All right, so we got Bengals at Falcons. Could the Falcons potentially lose 2 in a row at home? Has that really been? They've played 3 home games in a row. They play the Panthers, then they play the Saints, and then they play the Bengals at home. It's a Sunday night. I know it's a Sunday game, 1 p.m. kickoff in Atlanta. Cody, who you got, Bengals or Falcons?
I'm taking Cincinnati, man. I just, like I said before, I don't trust this Atlanta team, man. And I think Cincinnati does have a good defense. I mean, it'll probably be another shootout because they're in Atlanta. But I don't trust Atlanta. I don't trust them at all. If AJ comes back especially, then yeah, I'm taking Cincinnati.
Joe, I've got the Falcons. Who you got?
Man, I think I'm going Falcons too. They need this win, man. They gotta have it. And I think it's gonna be a shootout like you said, Cody. I really believe that. But I think Atlanta's gonna do it at home, and like I said, they need a win.
Saints at Giants, Joe. The Saints offense versus the Giants. We don't know who the Giants are. They're not very good, but they're not terrible at the same time, given their game against the Texans. Who you got? Saints on the road at visiting the G-Man. Tough game, actually. Road game. 2 road games back to back for them.
I'm definitely going Saints. I just think they're gonna outclass the Giants. It could be an exciting game, but I think the Saints have too many weapons.
Cody, I'm going Giants on the road. I mean, Giants at home. I think that, not that I think they're a better team. I just think the Saints are getting a little worn out. That took a lot out of them with that Falcons game. I think the Giants have some pieces there. So who you got?
Yeah, I think the Saints are gonna win. Where is it at? Is it in the Superdome?
Yeah. No, it's in New York. It's in New York, the Meadowlands.
I don't know. I still think I'm gonna go Saints. Their defense is working their way back up. Yeah, I'm picking Saints. The Giants are lost.
All right, guys, that's pretty much the show so far. We just got to close it down with the Ice Up picks. Shout out, Deshaun Hall was signed by the Houston Texans today off the 49ers practice squad. Joe, who you got for your Ice Up pick this week?
Cody, if you would, my Ice Up pick this week goes to all the people, all the writers and pundits and non-Panther fans who are so incredibly critical of Cam Newton for showing his emotions and for being such a passionate individual. Cam has been mocked. They've taken him and done everything they could to break him down when it comes to losing games, when he gets frustrated, when he gets, when he gets quiet in an interview, when, all of the things they've ever said he does absolutely wrong. I'm icing those guys up because not one person mentioned this. Seeing Andrew Luck on the ground, pounding his fist because he got sacked and his team lost the game. If that would have been Cam Newton, all kinds of hell would have come down on him. But because it's Andrew Luck, nobody has anything to say. Skip Bayless, where you at, man? Where are you at? Why aren't you beating up?
Get him, Joe.
Why are you not beating up Andrew Luck / I want to know why. Is it because you don't like Cam? Because he's too flashy? He's too me? Well, look at your boy right there, throwing a fit, and nothing to say. Nobody. So all of you, Cam haters, ice up.
Ice up. We've been saying it and saying it. Guys, Saints cornerback Patrick Robinson just placed on IR, broken ankle. I just got a notification for that.
Yeah, I read that.
All right, Cody, who you got?
All right, man. So, mine. You notice there might be a trend with my ice up picks. I like to highlight just how much stupid there is in the world. And today, so listen, this little dork on your screen, his name is Lil Xan. And Lil Xan was transported to the hospital, not for popping too much pills, not for overdosing on the white stuff. No, homeboy had too much flaming hot Cheetos and started vomiting blood and had to go to the hospital. Okay, so let's run through this. One, why so many face tattoos, dude? I mean, really? Yeah, okay, you're a rapper, but you need to mark up your face under your eyes? What is your problem, dude? Okay, number two, why is every new rapper named Lil? Like, I mean, really? Every new little rapper has to have Lil in front of their name to be relevant? And then number two, why are you eating flaming hot Cheetos anyway? Everyone knows the jalapeno Cheetos are the best ones, all right? So to Little Xan, this dweeb amongst dweebs, an ultimate dork, ice up, son.
Ice up. We used to eat hot fries.
Oh,
go ahead, Joe.
He's wearing a t-shirt with his own face on it?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Because he is a dork.
Come on, man. Come on.
All right. We used to eat hot fries. We used to try to eat in third grade, try to eat as many hot fries as we could without taking a sip of water or a drink. That was our challenge to each other. Nobody vomited. Nobody went to the hospital. All right. So my ice up pick is real simple and sweet because I've got to go. The Minnesota Vikings. Y'all suck. Ice up. Y'all got beat down by the damn Buffalo Bills. Just that simple. Very simple. All right, guys. This is the C3 podcast. Yeah. I mean, it was bad.
Did y'all see Kelvin Benjamin dropping passes like a straight bomb?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw him.
All right, guys. This is C3 Podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night you can chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. We've had a great time tonight. Cody Lashney, tell them where they can follow you.
At Cody Lack, CODYLAC on Twitter. Hit me up. I respond to everyone. Clemson football, Panther football. Let's go, baby. You already know.
Joe, where can they hit you up?
You can find me on Twitter at Joe Riolano. And speaking of Clemson, they made the move. Trevor Lawrence is now the main man, the big man on campus.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. The truth.
My name's Tony Dunn. You can follow me at cat_chronicles. Thanks for all your conversation. Hey, Lynn, I see you at the end. Thanks for all your support. Remember, Cat Calls Line. Get in there on the post-game show. We love it. Keep pounding. Let's have a bye. We'll go relax and watch the other teams get hurt while we get healthy. See you next week.